Welcome everyone. A warm good morning. Um, and first of all, my sincere gratitude to Brahmashi Pitama Patriji for giving us this wonderful technique of Anapanasati and making everyone aware of that meditation is so simple, right? And then also sincere gratitude to my parents as well, because of whom I'm here, and then to all the people who encouraged me, and then also to everyone who joined today morning to make yourself available on this early morning. So sincere gratitude to everyone. So let's get started. So conscious living and certain myths we'll talk about. Okay. Um, it's just a conscious living means it's a lifestyle centered on awareness and then intention, where you actively choose your thoughts, words, and actions rather than just living on autopilot without knowing anything, right? So that is the first. So the first step for conscious living is awareness, aware of what you're trying to do, what you're doing, and what you intended to do. Okay, so intention is also one foremost thing that you need to understand. Okay. And then, so the few things that you see when you say, right, like living with awareness and intention. So, which means like you need to notice your thoughts and then also emotions, what's going on, and then also what type of actions are you doing. Okay. And then also, rather than responding, right, like reacting, you need to make sure that you are responding. So there is a lot of like difference between responding and reacting. Just to give an example, if suppose a kid has done something which you don't want him to do, right? Then you immediately react to the things. Okay, you get furious, angry at them, and then you just say, "Hey, you should not do this." And in like you're hurting, you may hurt the child at that time. So that is kind of reacting. When you come to the responding, which means like you take one step back, think about, okay, what has been done, okay, and how I can tell the kid in such a way that he could listen, so that he can register in his subconscious mind that the next time when the similar thing happens, what is the way or approach that he could take in such a way that it could be taken in a better way. Okay, so instead of just reacting instantly, you will be looking at like how to respond basically. Okay, so that is possible only when you have awareness of what the situations are, what is the emotions, not just you, keeping yourself in the shoes of the other person, especially here in your example, in the child, and understanding that, okay, how would he react if we say something? Okay, so we will be thinking about that and awareing of that situation, and then we'll react to it. Okay, and then also being always in present in everyday moments, whatever you do. So if you see the picture, right, that depicts one of the person is drinking a coffee, but at the same time is trying to scroll over the phone. Okay, and the other person in the morning, whenever he's taking a sip of coffee or tea, whatever it is completely aware of it. So you could really see the difference between the right and left side picture that clearly says, right? Like if you can see, like when you see the picture, it says clearly soothing or right, okay, you are completely aware and you know what you're doing. Okay. Unlike the person who is drinking coffee and scrolling over the phone. Okay, the misconceptions that we have. So when we say conscious living, most of the people think that we need to meditate for hours. Okay, which indeed it need not to be. So when you say conscious living, it could start with just 30 seconds. Okay, very minute activities that we do every day. The awareness could start with that. And that itself can say that it's a conscious living. So we need not to meditate for hours. Okay. And the next one is conscious living is always spiritual, which in not that is not the case. So we can't just say that if you are spiritual means that you are doing a conscious living. So it's conscious living is basically it is not entitled to anything like either devotional or spiritual to anything. It's just the way you live daily with complete awareness and then intention and then being feeling content every day. Okay, so it's always a practical and universal. Anyone can follow it. It's not like only spiritual people can follow it, right? So it's always about anyone like who is being aware and getting intent can say that they're doing conscious living. And then also the other thing they say is you need to be always calm. Okay. But that is not the case. So when you say conscious living, you need to be aware of every emotion that you get, whether you are getting anger, right, joy, bliss, right, any emotion that is coming up to you, you need to be completely aware of it. Okay, so that is the conscious living. So it's a complete myth that you need to be always calm. You should not be having any emotions like anger, guilt, nothing like that. Okay, so it's about having every emotion, but it's just that for every emotion you will be completely aware of what's going on. So if you're getting an anger, right, you will be completely aware that you know that you're getting anger. Instead of reacting instantly, you will be responding in a responsive mode. Okay, so that is called conscious living. Okay, and then also the next one is saying that it's you should be always perfect. Okay, whatever you do, conscious living means you need to be perfect and whatever you're doing, but it's not that. It's again just being present. Whatever is happening, observe it and embrace it and see what's going on. Okay, and few other myths that we could think of is basically like you need to live slowly, okay, without any ambition or so, but that is not the case. Okay, so you need not to reject any goals or any success, right? And you can't go in the fast pace. That is not at all true. Okay, it's all about choosing your aligned actions and not avoiding progress. So that is not what we are looking at. Okay. And then other one is you need to just quit your job and live off grid, which means like sannyasi, leaving everything and then just going into the wild and light, just living off grid. So that is also not true. So conscious living can happen in the city, even in your corporate job or anywhere. It's about how you relate to life and not where you live. Okay, so wherever you're living, either you can be living in a village or in a city with a corporate job, anywhere, you need to just be relating to your life and where you live, instead of not like where you live, but basically you need to just be aware of where you are living. Okay, and then also it's not spiritual or religious. We already talked about it. And then also so you must eat vegan or organic or follow strict diets. That's what we may be thinking. So there is like two sides of the coin. You can some debate, right, like we need to eat consciously, which means like only vegan and organic things, agreed, but at the same time it's just reflect the values whatever works for you. You need to just aware of it and you need to make mindful choices that are going to work for you. What does that mean is if I say that one diet works for me, doesn't mean that the same works for you. So you need to completely aware of your body and what's going on in your within your body. So you need to know about it. And based on that, you need to make a mindful choices and go and then select with whatever you going working for you. Basically. Okay. And then the next biggest misconception is you need to give up all the material possessions, right? Like whatever you have, and you need to just live a simple life without having anything. So that is also a myth. Okay. So minimalism is one path, but always conscious living can include enjoying nice things, which make you feel good, right? For example, if you dressing up well, right, with jewelry and everything makes you feel good, then you should go for it. It's not like okay, you being spiritual or like being conscious living means doesn't mean that you need to just leave everything and without wearing anything, right? And wearing the clothes almost torn. It's not like that. Okay. If that makes you comfortable, then it's okay. But basically, whatever makes you happy, okay, and joyful, right? So you can just embrace those things, you can enjoy them, but just make sure that you need to have a kind of like without a blind attachment. Okay. So some people, they have very blind attachment for gold, wearing gold and everything. Okay. So make sure when you can enjoy the nice things, just make sure like without having a blind attachment. Okay. And then also it's about like controlling everything. Okay. When you say conscious living, you really think that, oh, we need to control everything in our real life, but it's the opposite. Okay. It's all about the awareness and acceptance, and then flowing with the life rather than micromanaging it. Okay. So which means like overthinking and those things. Oh, I mean, like if I wanted to do conscious living, I need to control my emotions. I need to suppress these things, or else it will not be counted as conscious living. So that is not true. That is completely opposite. You need to just be aware, and then also accept whatever coming to it. Okay, and then just go with the flow. Okay, and then also you really think that, oh, we need to have a constant pace, and then also always be happy. That's what we really think. But it's basically conscious living, like just deepens the fulfillment, but don't erase any life challenges or anything. Okay, it just teaches us the resiliency and the perspective instead. So it will make you strong. Okay, but it doesn't mean that you need to just always to be in a constant pace, right? And then always needs to be happy. It's not at all true. Okay, it's about just deepening, like, okay, whatever you have, and then whatever the challenges that life throws at you, you need to take up those challenges. But when you are doing a conscious living, you will be having a better way of handling them. Okay, so instead of getting yourself into a panic mode, right? And so you will be well aware of the things that are going on in your surroundings, so you will be having a better understanding of it. So it just teaches you the resiliency, and then also a different perspectives of life, how well it can be done and those things. Okay, so moving on. Okay. So, what are the few things? Now we learned about one of the like few myths or misconceptions that we have with the conscious living. So, like, what are the few things that we could do? Okay. So, few tips or whatever. It's right. Like when you can do like micro meditations in a day, which means like you can take few times you can take three deep breaths, like inhales and exhales during a certain time of time. Like nowadays, like we have so many apps, especially like especially if you have an Apple Watch, it has a mindfulness. It will alert you for every 1 hour or so, just letting you know that can you take a deep breath, okay? Or it will make sure that it stand goals, right? It will make you stand. The similar way, you can practice kind of like a need not to meditate like more hours or something, but just micro, which means like for every 1 hour, taking three deep breaths or something to calm yourself and embrace the surroundings and embrace yourself. Those could actually do. Okay, and then also it's just practical and it's universal. Anyone can do. The awareness is what it is, right? Anyone can do. Okay, and then also like mindful walking from one room to another room, and then you can also walk. Grounding is one thing, right? You can just walk on the bare feet on the earth. Okay, and then just do mindful walking. But if you see nowadays, right, most of the people, they just walk by either listening to music or talking over the phone, but they don't really understand what are the surroundings, okay, what's happening. They don't even observe what is happening in the body, right? So just don't be like that. Okay. Just be mindful whatever you're doing. Okay. So like walking, right? Just observe like the surroundings. Okay. Observe the Mother Earth. Appreciate whatever you see in the surroundings, the birds chirping, right? And the breeze that is flowing in, right? So unless until you really experience those, you will not be able to appreciate the things. Okay. Just think about if you're not aware of what's going on and you just listen to it. And if it is too sunny, if there is no breeze, you will feel really hot, right? But however, whenever the breeze comes up, then you will really feel really refreshed and happy. Oh, now you're when you're sweating, the breeze comes up and you will feel good. So if you are more aware, then you will be more able to enjoy it much better. Okay. And then also the conscious living, like you need to embrace all the emotions, anger, guilt, joy, bliss, everything. Like whatever you get the emotions, right? You need to enjoy every emotion. And whatever the challenges that comes, you need to just face them without any second thought. Okay. And then what happens when like certain like benefits of the conscious living? Okay, so it reduces the stress and then the what we talked about reactions, right? Like instead of reacting, you make sure that you respond, right? So that is one of the benefits that you get. And then also it will improve your relationships and also clarity. The reason behind is like when you are more aware of the situations and when you say you're going to respond rather than react, obviously the relationships get fruitful. Okay. So instead of when you react, right? So whatever the words that comes out of your mouth of because of the anger, right, it could mean a different thing compared to what you really meant. But once the word comes out, you can't take it back, right? So you need to be like very mindful of what you're talking also. Okay. So that's the reason, like, because of this conscious or the awareness that you're talking, even having consciousness during talking also, it will help you to build relationships much better. And then you can also get the clarity as well. So taking one step back and think about how I need to respond, even though it takes time. Okay. But just take one step back, take deep breaths, right? When you are anger or whatever it is. And then you'll be getting more clarity on what needs to be said there. Okay. So instead of saying something else which you don't want to, you will just be aware of analyzing the situation much better and then you respond. Thereby, the relations get better. Okay. And then also it deepens the connection within ourselves actually. So when you say consciously, when you're drinking coffee or tea in the morning, when you do consciously, you will clearly see this first sip of coffee or going inside through your throat and everything, right? So you'll feel it, you will be having a different feeling. Unless until you really do it and experience it, no one can tell you how it will be. Okay. So whatever you do, like drinking water, like nowadays, most of the people they just drink water from the top without even knowing what's going on. Okay. So instead of that, just take sip of water with a glass, right? And then every sip, enjoy it. Okay. So instead of just pouring the water into your throat, make sure you have that water sometime kind of like few milliseconds within your mouth and then drink it. So that like there is a very science behind it as well. Like when you have it in your mouth, all the glands they know that you are drinking, and this generate the saliva, which is helpful for the enzymes that are needed for digestion, whatever you need. Those all will be so the brain will be send a signal saying that now you're trying to eat or drink something, and whatever it is needed, the body should be generating the enzymes. Those all will be generated. Okay. So instead of just pouring the water from the top, right, into your throat, make sure you sip it, have it like in your mouth, and then, right, then you can swallow. So that itself it is. So everything like within yourself, when you are aware of what's going on within your body, it will connect to your inner self as well. So when you connect to your inner self, it like whatever the experience that you are getting out of it will be very much fruitful or much more um, kind of what you could say more aware, okay, and the joy and blissful kind of things are more that, okay. So just we'll take a pause here, kind of. Okay, we'll do some activity. Okay, just everyone. Okay, just pause. Okay, and take deep breath in. Okay, just observe your all the lungs that fill with air. Don't exhale yet. Now exhale. Okay, one more time. Take deep breath in. Hold your breath. Okay, deep breath out. Okay, one last time. Take deep breath in. Deep breath out. So, how do you guys feel when you do this? You can post your comments in the chat. Okay, I'm waiting for your chat, your answers. Someone, please. Okay, yeah, relaxed. So when you hold your breath, right, like with the normal breathing, so you will not be even aware of, right? But when you hold the breath, right, you're observing like how lungs are filled with air, and you're just being there. You can't even like think of anything else, right? Yes, sense of connection to our inner soul, right? And then you are completely aware of it. And then posture, correction, feeling relaxed. Thank you, guys. Yeah. So this is one of the things that you can incorporate, right, within your lifestyle, just to start with from today, right? Just to so that it just it's kind of like practicing awareness. So this is one of the technique that I followed personally. Whenever I feel anxious, or like if I'm lost of thoughts, and if I wanted to get out of the things, right, I just take like deep breaths like this, inhale, hold the breath, and then exhale. It just makes me complete aware. Okay, so just follow this, add this to your daily routine, which would really help you guys. Okay. So I know we are almost okay. So we can start small. Okay, so whatever it is, right? Just consider like one mindful habit today, whatever you're doing, right? Make sure that you're gonna do with complete awareness. Okay, so pick one task, whatever it is. If suppose you're drinking a coffee or a tea, okay, right? Make sure, right, from today you are going to follow at least like 11 or 21 days, that you are always going to do that particular habit with mindfulness, with consciously whatever you're trying to do, like, okay. And then also the practice the presence of small movements, okay. So for example, if a kid is coming over to you and he's telling about his day, just be mindful of it instead of having your phone scrolling over it and then partially listening to him what he's saying. Instead of that, make sure like very small moments. You need not to do a big moments. Okay, just listen to him mindfully. Just be present. Whatever they're saying, listen to them. Okay, and during this process, right, please be kind to yourself. You can't just force it do anything, and you can't say that hey, it's not work. Like practicing 1 2 days and thinking that it's not working. It doesn't. It might not work like that. Okay, just be kind to yourself because everything takes time. Okay, and you need to give time. So make sure that whatever you're doing, when you're having a new habit. It There is a study that it's going to take around some, for some people it's going to take 21 days, some it's going to take 41 days, for someone it's like 101 or 108 days. So it all depends on the pace and where you are. So it all takes time. So make sure you give some time to yourself. Okay. And just I have a one quote with from Eckhart Tolle saying awareness is the greatest agent for the change. Whatever the change you wanted to do, so awareness is the first thing that you need to. That is the greatest agent for the change. Okay. So now few things like in the day-to-day activities, right? We'll go few to see like with whatever the activities, right? Whether it's a conscious or non-conscious things. Okay. So when you're looking at the person driving there, what do you think? Whether it's going to be conscious or unconscious? So he's not having any distractions. He's not looking over the phone or anything. So definitely this is a conscious way of living. So definitely, right? And then, okay, is this conscious or non-conscious? So a person is walking over on the street, is scrolling over the phone, right? So definitely this is not a conscious living. Okay. And then there are a few more. Okay. Now, if you see that, like pausing before responding to a difficult text, you got some email or a text, right? And when you're responding or you're pausing, instead of reacting, you are just pausing and thinking about it, right? You how to respond. That is tells it's a conscious living. Okay. It's a conscious action, basically. And then eating lunch while watching TV. So this is nowadays most of the people do that. Even I do sometimes. I'm trying to learn myself now, okay, to make sure that I also do a conscious eating, okay, without doing anything. Okay, so that is also not conscious when you're eating lunch and then watching TV, and then savoring the first sip of morning tea. So you're just enjoying the first sip that you are like taking in the morning. So that is also a conscious action. Okay, and then reacting immediately to a child's tantrum. If they did something which you don't want to, right? And then when you're reacting, that means it's not conscious. Okay. And then also the next one is kneeling down and asking the child how they are feeling, right? That is always a conscious because you're completely aware of the situation and you're giving 100% attention to the child on how they are feeling and everything. Okay. And then scrolling social media late at night without noticing, especially the TikTok and then Instagram right now. So we always tend to do that. So that is also non-conscious or unconscious, basically. Okay. And then also journaling before going to bed and to see like how your day and reflect your day. That is basically conscious. Okay. So, final tips and takeaways. So, conscious living isn't about perfection or restrictions or denial, right? But it's about all the awareness and being present, and then also having intentional choices in everyday life. Okay, so you need to have an intention, or else, right, they will not be having any purpose to your life. So you need to have an intention for that day. What you're gonna do, what you're gonna achieve. You need not to have a bigger intention. So small intentions, right? Reading one or two pages of a book, right? And then making sure that you work out for 30 minutes a day. So those all small things you can have intentions in your life and make sure that, okay, that is kind of like a conscious living. Okay. You need not to meditate for hours and hours, right? That is completely a myth. Okay. And then just be aware of day-to-day activities like when you're talking, when you're walking, when you're washing dishes or cooking, drinking, eating, any activity that you do in day-to-day life, you can be completely aware of it. That is intent called as a conscious living. Okay. And then as we discussed, you can practice micro meditations or few deep breaths in a day just to make sure that you increase the awareness that will help you to have a better understanding of the surroundings, the presence, right? Build stress less life and those. Okay. And then also spend as much as time in your nature, right? And then grounding with Mother Earth, and then hugging a tree whenever you feel anxious or you have a different mood. But when you hug a tree, make sure you don't wear any flip flops or anything. Just have barefoot so that you can clearly see the connection happening from the Mother Earth, from the tree, and whatever the feelings or negative things that you're having, those all will be taken care.